Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back through daily crypto news and analysis, and today we're going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, of course. I do want to do a little bit of a deep dive in some of the past relationships that they've had with some partnerships, and really kind of do a little bit of a deep dive in on those that, I do personally believe are still in place. We're going to be talking about that and get into that pretty much here shortly. But yeah, I have quite a bit of things to talk about, so sit back, relax, and before we fully jump on into this video, I just want to ask guys, could please leave a like on this video. It does help the channel grow immensely, and I do greatly appreciate it. Now, I am watching Bitcoin closely. As you guys are probably aware, everybody's kind of worried. They think that we're in a bear market. Everybody's kind of watching, Bitcoin dominance. Everybody's watching Bitcoin in general. We did see the indices, sort of have a kind of boring day. They're pretty much trading around the same points that they have been for a little bit of time. They've been in the stuck, choppy zone, if you will. But not as bad as, crypto. Crypto has been, kind of tiptoeing around this point for a little bit of time now, even if going back to, pretty much all the way back to December 4th. So it's been almost one whole month of just kind of tiptoeing around these levels, which is totally fine. Consolidation is fine with me. But I do suspect that we could go down a little bit lower, and I've always said that, I'm pretty much watching these September lows going all the way down to like 40.6K to like around 41K. This, in my mind, is a strong demand zone, and realistically, if we did test this and had a nice impulse back to like the all-time high plus, that'll be very significant. Now, I know a lot of people are calling for, 100K, 250K still on Bitcoin. I just don't see it. Possibly we could have a nice outreach to about like 100K plus. If we do have a massive 2022, if we have an extended bull run, we're talking until like the end of 2022, then yeah, I think that Bitcoin could hit some high figures. But overall, I don't have too much hope in the tank for Bitcoin. I do suspect that we could make one last major push to an all-time high. And I think that will pretty much lead us to the next major inception of the alt season, aka our alt running. There's still been a lot of altcoins that have not made their significant new all-time highs. XRP definitely is one of them. So I'm watching this market very closely as we do march into 2022 with how much adoption and growth is set to happen. I do think that crypto in 2022 is going to be absolutely massive. So I'm definitely watching it closely. Now, with all of this in mind, I do want to talk to you guys about some partnerships with Ripple. So obviously, we do see our Currency Cloud shown as one of the 10 RippleNet members alongside Amex and Santander in this video with Schwartz from January 2021. Now, we do know that in December 21st, Visa finalized its acquisition of Currency Cloud. You could actually see Visa here labeled in their clients list. We also see other major names like Standard Bank and stuff like that. But they have a ton of partnerships. They literally are very well positioned within the financial scene to really disrupt major markets. You can pretty much look at their solutions for banks, fintech, FX brokers, and all that kind of stuff. You could look into their tech, all that kind of stuff. But I don't want to talk to you guys more so about that. I want to talk to you guys about how these major connections are continuing to be formed. So first off, we know about RippleNet. We know how big RippleNet is, but I want to talk to you guys about American Express and stuff as well. In terms of the clients, yeah, Currency Cloud is huge. And in my mind, Currency Cloud is fairly large. But the funny thing about this is that we know that when we're talking about American Express, we're talking about Santander, we're talking about Visa here, we're talking about all of these major, names in the game for fintech and payments in general. Currency Cloud definitely is a large name, but I also think that a lot of the U.S. partnerships are still on the board for Ripple. And you might be wondering, well, why do you think that? Well, first off, we look at MoneyGram, right? In my mind, MoneyGram is still using Ripple technology. I don't think that a lot of these partnerships have fully pulled out just because of the SEC. This is January 2021, and we still see on the board Currency Cloud, and we also see American Express and Santander. Now, if you guys did miss it, I'm sure a lot of you are probably new to the scene still, but back in 2017, we did see American Express and Santander team up with Ripple for cross-border payments. And of course, Ripple said that its cryptocurrency XRP will come into play as a means of speeding up payments later down the line. The funny thing about this is I still think that Ripple is playing a huge key role in a lot of these major companies, even in the US. I know that we always say that, the US is stifling innovation because of the SEC, but honestly, are they? Like, I think that there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. Now, of course, this is a little bit of speculation, but there is a lot of connections back to this video, and definitely shout out to Anders out on Twitter for this, because when we're talking about this, I seriously see such a huge future for Ripple, even though the SEC lawsuit is still ongoing. I also think that a lot of these US based customers and clients are still utilizing this technology because it would make no sense for them to pull out because this technology is disruptive. It is allowing for a lot more efficient cross border payments. And also, Visa themselves. So, Visa and MasterCard could benefit greatly from utilizing technology like this because it allows them to scale and save a ton of money. Now, the only direct correlation to this and the only solidifying fact to this is this video from January 2021 with David Schwartz, and we do still see US-based customers labeled here. Even MoneyGram is still labeled here. So all of its US-based customers are still labeled. I'm not saying that it's 100% confirmation that they're still using this technology, but in my mind, I do believe that they are. And of course, with Currency Cloud, we know that Visa is on the board with them. Visa, of course, is a large name in the game. And we do see here, so all but the largest financial institutions would rather use a system that can't be controlled, like ODL. Now, this is from David Schwartz himself. One thing that surprised me is that these differences really resonate with all but the largest financial institutions. They would rather use systems nobody can own and control than systems owned and controlled directly or indirectly by their largest competitors. They don't trust each other, it's clear. And it truly is. I mean, honestly, this is going back to 2020, but of course, when we're talking about the use cases behind ODL, I do believe that a lot of crypto technology will be adopted at mass scale because they like the idea of it not being controlled by one major entity, aka a large financial institution or bank in general. Now we also see here, banks are highlighting the use of Ripple. It's fast becoming a power brand. A power brand is all about high value, familiarity, and dependability. And this is coming from expat banking services, Bank Defar. As you guys are aware, they did have a partnership with them. We see here competitive rates for remittances using Ripple through Bank Defar mobile banking app. And a lot of people are saying Ripple, not ODL. The best part about this is that, they start using Ripple, but then, of course, XRP comes into play later. It's similar to what we are seeing even in even in this article here. It's cryptocurrency XRP will come into play as a means of speeding up payments later down the road. Even if they're not using ODL, once they do start using, cross-border payments from Ripple, that's when ODL kicks in. That's when XRP utility kicks in. We also see here 25% of U.S. Consumers use less cash now than before COVID. We're probably all aware of this. This is actually an older article, but the reason why I bring this up is because this is the rise of CBDCs. This is the flip the switch moment. We do see here China has started trials of the yuan currency with a proposed launch date of February 2022. Things are moving fast in 2022. Like 2022 is definitely going to be a large year to watch for, especially if you are in crypto, because I do truly believe that it's going to be the year of mass adoption. And we do see here interoperability, the key to success. By 2024, at least half of the world's population is expected to use digital wallets for transactions that will be valued at more than $9 trillion a year. That's fairly large. I mean, $9 trillion is something fairly significant to not disregard. And of course, we do see here, RippleNet and Interledger Protocol labeled here for, even interoperability needs within a CBDC private ledger based, pretty much use case. Now, I do want to talk to guys a little bit about something fairly interesting. So, first off, Sandy O'Connor, I just talked to you guys about her yesterday. In this video, she discusses the switch from Libor, I hope that I'm saying that right. Either one, doesn't matter, but 300 trillion in financial contracts from derivatives to corporate credit lines to SOFR, which is Federal Reserve's preferred replacement, SOFR. The deadline for the switch is December 31st, 2021, which is tomorrow. Now, this is fairly large, and we do see here Ripple adds, Sandy O'Connor to board of directors. This goes back to December 14th, 2020. And then, of course, on the next slide, she is talking about, or I should say, they're mentioning the fact that she's a large name. First off, she's recently retired as the Chief Regulatory Affairs Officer for JP Morgan Chase. And, of course, she led the engagement with G20 regulators and policymakers regarding evolving regulations. So, in my mind, first off, regulations are definitely coming to this market, and they're coming very fast. But also, O'Connor currently serves on the board of Terex Corporation and as current chair of the YMCA of Greater New York. She has been named to American Banker's top 25 list of the most powerful women in the banking and several times. This is a fairly large name. And, we even see here, Federal Reserve Board announces the reserve banks will adopt a new message format for the Fedwire Funds service and invites public comment on proposal to expedite adoption. The board also invited public comment on a revised plan for migrating the Fedwire Funds service to the new message format. The best part about this is that this is all talking about ISO 222 tokens and pretty much the messaging system. Now I know that a lot of people try to make a argument about the flip the switch event, but this truly is that. I mean, this is pretty much the revised plan to pretty much switch from old systems to new systems. And listen closely to this.
Is now used. Anyone want to guess for how many in notional values? $200 trillion are referenced off of the US dollar Libor rate. How many transactions do you think happens in each day on average in 3 months, which is the busiest one? Any guesses? 5 trades. 5 trades are happening on average every single day. It is the biggest inverted triangle you've ever seen. On average, total value is about $500 million. Houston, do we have a problem? 200 trillion off of 500 million. So, how does Libor get calculated? Well, you've got these panel banks that submit what they think Libor is, and it's supposed to be transactions-based. Well, if there are only 5 transactions and there are 16 panel banks, not enough transactions to go around, my friends. So, in fact, they have to use expert judgment. And therein is the instability of the rate. There is an awful lot of risk to use expert judgment on setting a rate for $200 trillion. So that's not really very good. So what did we do? Well, first thing, if you're going to transition away from something, what do you need? Something to go to. So this public-private partnership that has in place with public policymakers set up by the Federal Reserve Board, the Fed, the CFTC, the U.S. Treasury, OFR, we came to the table to identify a new risk-free rate as an alternative to Libor for use in derivatives. And we came up with this rate called the Secured Overnight Financing Rate. It's a repo rate. It has transactions, daily transactions in the overnight of $750 billion every single day. And it is now produced by the New York Fed. No submitting banks. No expert judgment. IOSCO compliant for those of you who are geeking out like I do and understand that that's a standard setter, and they tell you all the good characteristics of a benchmark that people are going to use. So it hits all of those wonderful things, right? Which is really, really good. But when you build a market, we have a rate. We got to now make this, and when the rate was born.
And she's essentially talking about how we need to do better. There's problems within these financial contracts, and this is all coming from the derivatives. We even see that up here, from derivatives to corporate credit lines. So there's issues here. Now, we also seen the New York Fed post this, and we had a lot of individuals, confused. They're saying, it's going to be a long winter if you continue to stick to Libor in 2022. Start using a robust alternative reference rate like SOFR before the supervisory deadline for no new Libor contracts by year end. I mean, call it what you will, call it what you want, but, in my mind, the flip the switch event was never supposed to be, all right, let's show XRP's real value at $10,000 per XRP like everybody else says. The flip the switch event is transitioning away from old financial systems, sparking the revolution to the new financial system. And all of this is massive amounts of money. In my mind, regulations are coming in 2022. Sandy O'Connor is a huge name for regulations. She's been on the board for almost one whole year now. It's already been one whole year. Huge name in terms of regulations, regulatory affairs, all that kind of stuff. And we're seeing adoption grow, even from the Fed themselves with the FedWire Fund Service. All of this, in my mind, goes hand in hand with the Flip the Switch event. Don't get me wrong, XRP's real value will be shown. I don't know what it could be, okay? Nobody knows. We can make specific guesses by saying, all right, $300 trillion in financial contracts. Okay, well, say for so, we grasp 1%, 10%, whatever the case may be. You could do something like that. That's more logical to truly find out how much XRP could move if it is the vehicle that will move these massive amounts of money, aka the bridge currency. But we also have to think about it: is XRP going to be utilized for something like this? Because are these cross-border payments? Got to also remember the fact that in terms of these payment networks, XRP is utilized when it needs to be utilized, aka as a cross-border bridge. But I'm not saying that this isn't a massive amount of money, and I'm not saying that Ripple themselves can't solve the problem with RippleNet itself, because the Ripple network is fairly large in terms of what it could do for speed and all that kind of stuff. In my mind, the Flip the Switch event is regulations coming to this space, mass adoption by governments for CBDCs and so forth. And of course, in my mind, XRP definitely holds a great, a weight on its shoulders for its major use cases, aka that on-demand liquidity. That on-demand liquidity all goes back to Nosha Vasho accounts for like $24 trillion. Or $27 trillion. Sorry, I was thinking about tokenization. So, in my mind, yeah, XRP has an incredible future ahead, especially if it could grasp a large portion of the market that it's coming for. Okay, Swift is getting in on digital assets. They know what's coming. I know it's coming. You all know what's coming, especially if you have been focused on research. But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty big, insight. If you're looking at Sandy O'Connor, and definitely shout out to Jimmy Carrera. I hope that I said that name right on Twitter. But yeah, I mean, this is fairly large. Regulations will definitely change this entire space. We will see a mass amount of adoption for Ripple and RippleNet products as well, which those RippleNet products are definitely listed here. And I do suspect that there's going to be more of these. In terms of RippleNet, I think that this is great. This is global payments at scale. This is on-demand liquidity at scale. Of course, XRP is going to be huge, but I just think that it's great that we literally have an individual, Sandy O'Connor, on the board of directors for Ripple, and she's literally leading the race and the switch for the future banking scene, the future financial scene. This is incredible. So, with all of that in mind, I hope that you all enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or beautiful night wherever you guys are in this video. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.